Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the work session of October 1st, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Parker,
Here.
Gonzalez. Here. Groneman,
Here.
Haley,
Present.
Wakes,
Here.
Mulvaney Henry. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay, at this time, has everybody had an opportunity to look at the agenda? Are there any additions or subtractions? Not, I would move to approve. To approve. Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Parker,
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Groneman,
Aye.
Haley.
Aye.
Wakes,
Aye.
Mulvaney Henry.
Aye.
That motion carries.
I just want to make one quick comment. On the agenda at 10 minutes till 6, I'm going to call for adjournment. So it gives us time to get from here to there. So if somebody's in the middle of a presentation, don't feel bad. Or it's nothing personal, but we will adjourn no later than 10 minutes till 6 to give us time to get into the regular scheduled meeting. Now we're at the board update, GM update. Does anybody have any updates?
Oh, I attended Public Works and Safety. And there was on the agenda an issue that I thought pertained to us about safety of public officials, but they took it off the agenda and BPU was listed there, safety of our workers. But it was taken off the agenda at the last minute, so I assume it's going to be on next month.
I think current law covers it pretty well, and so it was fairly redundant.
Okay,
So that's
so I'm not going to see it again, probably.
probably.
Okay. That was the only thing, the issue that had anything to do with utility.
I think to that end, we have collaborated with Public Works and really Safety Fire Department over the last 6-8 weeks. We hosted Fire Department's leadership meeting here yesterday. That was yesterday, I believe. I was there, spoke at it. Rob was there. Thanks, Rob. And so we've also got a tabletop exercise with them in November at the water plant. Steve and Lee's group are coordinating with emergency response exercise at the water plant, and they're going to do it 3 days consecutive, I believe, so that all 3 of their shifts who would be responsible for that area of town have opportunity to respond to the tabletop exercise. And then we're going to host a leadership meeting for them at that water plant as well as the power plant, probably November, December, January, the timeframe, just so that they're more familiar with those facilities and all of the hazards and operations there. So the public safety piece, we've really been pushing for collaboration with the city, and it's worked well. It's working well for both of us.
I know a lot of years ago we did that, but it's been 15 years or more. I recall they did that tabletop stuff, so. Good. That's all I had.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other board members have anything? Mr. Ash?
All right, thank you. We'll try to be respectful of time with this one for sure. Because I think the employee engagement survey results are really important and we want to plenty of time for that. So one of the things we set out to do early in the year was sort of revamp our strategic plan and really get it to something that we thought was really a values alignment and actionable, something that we could write action to, that we could write goals to, that we could hold our team and our leadership to. And so we kind of started off the year just around doing some listening, some conversations with the various divisions and rolling all that feedback up. And, we've been doing the morning brew things and getting questions and ideas from the team members and things. So we then took that as a leadership team and we had a retreat, and we had a full day retreat for basically the the suite officers, myself, Dennis and Amber, Angie was a part. And we just got away from BPU and spent a day collaborating, thinking about our values, some of the themes that we've heard from you as board members and what you'd like to see our organization focus on and be and hold, hold close to the vest as far as culture and values. And so from there, we developed an idea of what we thought that our mission was, what our values were, and what our real, foundations of a strategy should be. And so then we had another full day workshop offsite again with a more expanded group to include all of the executive directors and directors. And so they got to see what we had been working on, and they got to offer feedback, edits, updates, things that we, may have missed because we're a little farther removed from some of the operations than they are. So I thought it was fantastic exercise. You're free to talk to the others about that were there. I don't know if anybody, Abby, Andrew, and Jaren are going to help with this presentation. So I don't know if you want to weigh on the process or what we learned, what we could do better in a couple of years when we need to revamp it or what.
Looking for Steve.
Excuse me,
I'm looking for Steve Marshall.
Steve Nerschel. I don't know if he'll be here today. Steve Green is likely here. I think he's here.
He is.
Somebody with water.
Yeah, he's in the other room.
Okay.
But they were a part of it, both Steves, and their other director at distribution, Marshall Robinette. So I don't know if anybody wants to make any comments on the process before we jump in. Anybody? No? All right, Rob, we can move on to the next one. And so kind of like what we mentioned, we wanted a clear path forward, right? We definitely wanted cross-departmental input, and we wanted to take that and build back what we thought relevant to everybody, what was, again, from a value statement, how we wanted to start turning the ship, right? And all of this was built, by our team. It's clear, it's actionable, and it's aligned with some of the values that we felt like we held as guiding the organization. So much of this is priorities from leadership, but it's also been opined on by a lot of the groups that we've got around and talked to and things. So, and really you're going to see the word care a lot. And that started with Abby's group and her eye care initiative and the customer care and really just care in what we do, care for each other, care for our customers, care for our community, care about our performance, and care about the impact we're having. Because I think when we think of impact, all we think about is positives, right? But we need to be mindful about sometimes the things we do create negative impacts. And so we want to care about that total impact that we're having with each other, within our teams, inside the organization as a whole, and in the community as a whole. Next one, if you could, Rob. So the team took a stab at updating our mission statement, making it a little more efficient, a little more, again, aligned with those values that we feel we should be operating with. And so what you see in the green banner is our updated mission statement that we're proposing is to deliver safe, reliable, and efficient utility services that support our community. And one of the words that came up over and over and over was community. And again, the community is a community of leadership, is a community of department, is a community, the community we serve, is a community of board members. And so that thing, community, we feel like is aligned with everything we do, from personal activities to leading teams, to leading the entire organization, to, safe action in the community, which is the broader customer base that we serve. And you can see at the bottom, there was what we edited. That's the current mission statement as we sit today. And we do feel like, again, this is an actionable statement and it's aligned with those values that you're gonna see on some upcoming slides that the team holds close to our operating utility.
Jeremy, do you have any idea how long since the existing statement's been? Since last time?
I do not,
That old.
I'm gonna guess it's at least 7 or 8 years old because that's the last time we sat down.
About right.
And I would bet it's probably a little older than that because that sign hanging in the other room is probably 8 or 10 years old.
Or
So,
older. I've been on the board for 12, 13 years and I don't think it's been changed.
so, new team, new focus, new values. We felt like adjusting and updating that was appropriate as well.
And wasn't there a slogan at some point in time, someone shared, owned by the people we serve or something along that line? Not a mission statement, but a slogan.
I know we used to have a tagline of driving the growth, but I don't remember that specifically. We can look back
Owned
through
by the people
different,
serve or something for a group of years.
we can look back.
To distinguish us as a municipal utility.
So,
And so this next slide represents what this leadership team, this is just our core values and plays into everything we're gonna do in how we operate, how we write goals, how we track projects, all of the things have to fall within this set of core values. And first and foremost, you all know we have put a renewed focus on safety, and we've been doing a lot of things to make that really our first operating priority. Is, if we're really say we're going to be about community and we foster that, we've got to be safe in what we do. And safety always means it's safety every day we come here. It's safety with each other. It's safety with our own actions. It's safety when we're in the community. It's safety in how we operate the systems. It's just our number one core value. We cherish our people, and to do that, safety has to be paramount, has to be number one. And so the entire group, all of the discussion, strategizing we had, safety always rose to number one. And that's, to me, that's great. It's commendable of our team is that we care about our people. We care about our community. Integrity, do the right thing the right way. That's something that this team holds close, is do the right thing the right way all the time, when someone's watching, when someone's not watching. But operate with integrity, do the right thing the right way. And then stewardship. We want to be good stewards of our people, of all of our resources, right? Which are assets, which are finances, which are, again, people, which is community, our vendors, our partners, all of our team. And then, of course, our environment. We should be thinking long-term when it comes to the things we're doing and the impact we're having on our environment from a micro and a macro scale. And then just the core value of service. I mean, I think that community first, and again, you see that word community, that means each other. It means operating departments. It means the community we serve. And it goes right back, plays right back, lines back up with that care, I guess tagline or descriptor that we've been using when we talk about how we take care of people. Customer service is now customer care. When we talk about taking care of problems, we want to care for those problems, not just check boxes. So the service, the impact, the things we're doing with the volunteerism, the things we're having, given time for people to participate in, it's really community first and service. And then lastly, collaboration. You hear a lot about us, meeting with unified government folks, meeting with other community stakeholders. I don't know where Nick is. He can probably tell you, but he and Abby and I have, I'm gonna guess, been to 20, 25 community meetings this year already and have more on the books. And so that's again, back to that service and stewardship out in front of the people, meeting the people where they're at. They all can't come here and see us. They all can't call us. They all can't email with us. So we're getting out and collaborating with the community stakeholders, telling them about what we're doing, asking what they think we do right, owning what we're doing wrong, and coming back and taking and putting those things into plans like this to hopefully make your job and all of our jobs a little easier by doing what we say we're gonna do, doing it safely, doing it the right way, and being good stewards of all of the resources when we're doing it. So a lot of collaboration in the community, a lot of collaboration with Unified Government. We're collaborating with other utility companies. We just had a group in here from Memphis Light, Gas and Water to help us with some safety messaging and safety meetings. So using our networks, using our connections, and really collaborating to get good ideas out on the table and help us move forward. So this is something we talked about, is sort of the guiding foundation or pillars of what we want our strategy to be. And that first pillar, again, we want to be customer focused and we want to be people centered. These three pillars, they definitely connect our values, and we're able to drive action from those values. We'll see in some other slides here, that we have accountability statements and goals tied to all of these foundational pieces of our strategic plan. We can write goals to these, we can track goals to these, we can edit and alter goals to these, all the way across the organization and be consistent with what we're trying to do. When we're doing something customer focused and people centric, that can be how we respond to a customer. That can be how we develop and implement training opportunities. It's something that can be consistently applied across all divisions. And the same thing with the second foundational pillar, which is financial stewardship and sustainability. Everything we do has to keep in mind that we're stewards of public funds. It's not our money. It's not a shareholder money. It's a public money. And we need to make sure to take care with that. And then again, the sustainability is not just financial, it's sustainability in all of our operations. We have to be here for the long haul. And then lastly, the system operations, resiliency and regulatory. You can apply that again to an IT system operation, a water system operation. Every department has regulatory standards. And so we spend a lot of time coming up with this, and we feel like these are our three foundational pillars of the strategy with how we should operate the company. And for this one, I'll turn it over to Miss Abby to get through this.
Thank you, Jeremy. Abby Fry, Chief Administrative Officer. So this pillar puts our workforce and our community at the center of what we do. It's focused on safety, development, and accountability for our employees, along with building trust and showing up in the community with integrity. And an example, as Jeremy mentioned, the neighborhood meetings that we've been going out and talking to them, getting feedback, sharing information. We also are striving to make it easy and positive to do business with BPU. And you're going to hear a lot more about this in the regular meeting. Gabi will present some of the great things that we've been doing in customer care. So more on that.
And I think Andrew is going to give us an update on this, how we're going to act on this.
Yeah, thank you. Andrew Ferris, Chief Financial Officer. Yeah, so really under the financial stewardship and sustainability, as Jeremy mentioned, it is not just financial, but it's the entire gamut of the organization requires stewardship and sustainability. And so when we look at the strategic objective, right, is to foster ethical and transparent practices that safeguard resources manage risk, and support the long-term organizational excellence. So as we look at the goal of Pillar 2, it's really to ensure that we are disciplined and transparent in managing ratepayer dollars, responsible budgeting, and a long-term approach to fiscal decisions and responsibilities. We want to ensure that we align investment, performance, reliability, and public trust to manage this pillar. We want to continue to push to remain competitive while ensuring resource diversity and long-term vision on system responsibilities. Really, the BPU is committed to looking at long-term opportunities and investments so that regardless of political climate or who's sitting in any of these chairs sitting here today, that we have the flexibility to bend and pivot regardless of what happens in the future. And so that therefore, that really takes into that sustainability and that strategic stewardship that we need to look at. And so therefore, we can make those changes as the world changes and we need to change with those. So thank you.
And for the system operations, resiliency and regulatory, Darren is gonna give his comment.
Yeah, good evening, Darren Petit, interim chief operating officer. Pillar 3, system operations, resiliency and regulatory. So one of the first things that jumped out to me when I saw this slide and we worked through it in the strategic planning retreat was how much of a foundation in operations that we can help the other two pillars. So when you think about the things that we're doing on the operations side, we're able to provide, if we do it the right way, a strong foundation for pillar 1 and pillar 2. As far as the objectives and the goals, everyone's touched on it throughout the presentation so far, but safety is non-negotiable. Safety always, we talked about that being the new safety mantra. And that's something that we've really pushed, and it's really supported and pushed from the top down. And I think it's been well received. There's been a lot of buy-in and ownership across the organization. Our safety team is very active across the organization with regularly scheduled meetings. We've developed an executive safety team that meets monthly to discuss what comes out of the departmental meetings. There's just a new sense of prioritizing safety across the organization. In fact, we just in the last week, leadership at the water distribution group just safety manual that they've given to us and the executive team to review. They've done all the reviews in-house. Just having the being proactive and developing something internally to take ownership that the department can buy into, I think was a really positive step. I don't want to jinx it, but our electric operations group is at 100 days without an incident. Our production group is over 160 days, I believe. Water treatment is 680 some days. ECC's like 18 years. I'm just want that on the record. But on to resiliency. So our infrastructure is the backbone of reliability. So making sure the lights stay on, getting the water to the customers, that's obviously one of our main priorities from an operations perspective. Resiliency, that's kind of like our insurance policy for the unexpected. Any external stressors that could happen on the system that could impact the service to our customers. Having the resiliency in place to be able to withstand and respond to any external stressors is something that we need to prepare for with the system resiliency and modernizing our infrastructure. We do that with proactive maintenance programs, try to get ahead of any issues. The emergency fixes typically are the costly ones. Upgrading infrastructure as needed, utilizing technology as much as we can, whether that be process driven or if it's newer equipment. And now there's a big priority, obviously, on the forecasting and planning side of the house with the growth in our community and potentially low growth that we may experience. Determining what our system is capable of currently and what we may need to do to accommodate any growth in the community. So always staying on top of the planning, and that side of the house. And then regulatory, like Jeremy said, there really aren't many groups in the utility now that aren't affected by some regulatory agency. The regulatory landscape is complex and it seems like it's changing daily. Firsthand, I can tell you the culture of compliance at BPU has changed for the better 100-fold since my early times in compliance. And I think the strong culture of compliance just reinforces safety and risk management and accountability and all the things that we're pushing through these other tiers. So Lee and her team have been fantastic collaborating with the subject matter experts across the organization and providing assistance in processes and really just with the goal to minimize regulatory risk across the organization. And with Lee's group kind of leading the charge and providing that support, it's been big. Operations and compliance come with the most risk. That's the reality of it. And there's probably the smallest margin for error. So we believe that prioritizing safety and grid modernization, infrastructure modernization, resiliency, and staying ahead of the compliance curve will minimize the risk to our utility and our customers ultimately. So that's our approach.
Kind of starting to summarize is where are we at? What are we doing? So now that our leadership team has congruity on what our important things are and our strategy for the next couple of years, we already have dates nailed down in November that we're going to take this plan on the road and meet with all of the divisions. And we say that we're not just going to go meet with the supervisors, right? We're going to meet with all of the folks in all of the areas so that they understand what the values are that we're operating with and how we're going to do what we're going to do, and that there's clear pathways to write goals and track performance too. Our strategy isn't a punch list of to-do things. It's a values being able to put into the action plan. And so that's we're going to get out on the road. And then the directors will take that strategy and they'll put it in play when they're developing the goals for all of their supervisors and the action items that they're trying to carry out in their respective departments. And then just living the plan. Those values are going to be embedded into everything we do: hiring, onboarding, training, recognition. It's going to be a constant here, not just something we shelf after we're done with this. And then again, the 2026 goals are going to reflect actions tied back to these values and foundational pillars. And so, you know, I think the whole point of this here is we want to have a purposeful plan and strategy, not just a punch list. And, you know, this is going to drive how we lead, how we support one another, how we serve our community, and continually just showing that we care. I mean, that's the big thing. This team cares. I'm proud of this team. They're doing amazing work, and the mentorship that goes on, the training, the leading. Nobody here is unimportant to any one of these leaders. They will talk to anybody, from the person directly meet them to the very first new hire that's not even in their department. So that's really how we're going to take care of this community and the community we serve. That's the last slide we have. And I think our team would stand for any questions or comments you may have.
Just want to say that when we hired you and mentioned your strategic plan, I was really excited. Now to see it put forth really makes it that more and more exciting. Really excited for what we're going to be accomplishing here for the community. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. And again, the team collaborative effort, this is things they believe and we believe together, and how we're going to march. All right, I think this will flow right into Dennis's report. I don't know who's gonna help him with it, but, or if he's gonna do it all, but. Good evening, board. We're gonna talk a little bit today about our employee survey results. So we conducted a satisfaction survey here a few months ago, and so Rob will go to the next slide. So why do we do this survey? And this is, I think it's the fourth time that we've engaged our employees in the survey process. So we do it to determine where we are with regard to our culture and what areas we need to improve on, how much our employees are engaged in the workforce. We bring in a third party, CBIZ, to conduct the survey. And the reason that we do that is I think employees feel better that they can answer confidentially. And the data that is produced is their data, CBIZ data, not HR, not BPU data. So what you're seeing today are the responses that CBIZ, the aggregate responses that CBIZ gave us. And then lastly, and you'll see this on the next slide as well, we had a 69% response rate. And typically in these surveys, CBIZ says it's a 30% response rate. So for our utility to go up even from 67% last year to 69% is really amazing, and showing that our employees really want to provide us feedback. So that's good. So who did we hear from? 54% of the responses were from union, 46% from non-bargaining unit, 70% of the responses were from non-supervisory staff, and then 30% were from supervisors. You can see we also measured the number of responses from each department and the years of service. So we have a very broad spectrum of responses from across the organization. The great news is that with our Net Promoter Score, which we actually tracked for the first time last year, we got a 6-point increase, which is a 50% improvement over last year. And so what that is a measure, the Net Promoter Score is a measure of loyalty and satisfaction with our employees. So it shows that I think our people are getting more engaged with the organization, and they're feeling like we're accomplishing and communicating the things that we need to, or that they need to do their job. Again, just another look at the responses and where they came from a years of service perspective. So, you know, you see just a general trend would be early in their career, are people a little more engaged, mid-years a little bit less. And then before they retire, 21 plus years, they re-engage with the organization. And, you know, that's I think a typical process that many employees through many organizations go through. That's you see in the left-hand side of the screen, the actual Net Promoter Score. So we went from 11.4 to a 17.87, again, a 50% increase. And what that says is that our employees are satisfied, and we have a strong foundation of engagement with them. You know, our goal would be to eventually increase that. And we think through things like our strategic plan, some of the new training programs that we're rolling out, the morning brews where our leadership are going out and meeting with every department and sharing information with them. Strategic information is going to continue to improve that score. So at BPU, what are the things that people like the most, and what are the areas we need to improve? So in 2024, when we asked this question, benefits, pay, and pension were the top 3 strengths. In 2025, the same two repeated itself, the top two, benefits and pay, but job security rose just barely above the pension. And we believe that, one of the reasons pension dropped a little bit is that we now have, for the second year at BP and BPU history, we have more tier 2 employees than tier 1 employees on our pension plan. And so you'll see that in some of the responses that we get, that, people want to have a little bit better pension plan because there's a difference in the two. You'll see that in the area as we discuss this further. So areas to improve. Number one in 2024 was our culture, something we needed to improve on. And we've been working on that here the last year or two. Communication and then career opportunities. Just a little bit about career opportunities. People in smaller organizations such as BPU, 500 employees, some may consider that a large organization. In reality, in the grand scheme of things, it's not, especially when it comes to career advancement. There's only so many C-level positions and so many supervisory positions that people have the opportunity to aspire to in a smaller organization. So there's always going to be frustration from that perspective. In 2025, career opportunities rose to the top of a concern, an area that we need to improve on. But again, we can, there's only so much you can do for the number of openings and opportunities to grow at BPU. Internal communication is something that employees want us to improve on. And then lastly, supervisory development. We'll talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing with regard to those two areas to improve. So our culture and values, what do our people think of those? Well, does BPU live out its mission? Great news is we got a 2% increase from 24 to 25. So 84% of our employees strongly agree that BPU lives out its mission, which is really good. One of the quotes there, if you want to take a second to read that, it's touching to see the swift changes being made with the new management team and management style. Integrity, community pride, caring spirit has the trickle down effect. The caring and community spirit of BPU is being reinvigorated, which is really a great thing to hear. So Rob, go to the next one. So supervisor engagement. What we see is, does your supervisor care about employee success? 80% of our responses said yes. 79% said their supervisor cares about their overall well-being. So it's showing that people care. The supervisors care about their people and people feel it and see it. 89% of our people believe they can easily get help from their supervisor, and 80% receive regular feedback. And those are really strong numbers. Some of the other things that we don't cover in this slide that came out of the survey, people feel their departments work well together. 81% of our people feel that they do. Only 9% disagree that their whole department worked well together. There are expectations of my job. Do I understand what is required of me in my job? 94% people had a positive response. And then 76% of our people felt they often get feedback from their supervisors, which is really a great thing. And I think some of the training programs we've introduced in the last couple of years have really helped our supervisors become more comfortable in it. Communication, from 24 to 25, we increased 4%. I feel well informed about what's going on. So while that number, 55%, is not a great number, we are getting better. And I honestly believe that in 26, when we do this survey, you'll see a much larger jump in that number. My supervisor keeps me informed. 62% of our employees feel like their supervisor keeps them informed. Again, it's a 1% increase.
not a great number, not a bad number, but not a great number, and I look for that to increase. Common communication channels, email is our number one most common communication channel, and that was a 10% increase from 2024. So what that says is I think our people, in particular our field people, are now paying more attention to electronic communications. And we really work hard at our email communication and our text communication, which we introduced a couple of years ago. So our benefits website is really a strong benefit. People appreciate that when they do go to the website, which is typically around open enrollment time. So 68% of our people use the benefits website, which is it's a really strong number. 45% say they're satisfied with the experience. And most reported that general awareness at time availability are major barriers. So when our field people try to access our electronics, it's more difficult because they're in the field. So when they get into the shop is when they can access that information. I think that's what that's essentially the same. Total rewards. So are our benefits easy to understand? 54% agree. 60% agree that our monthly benefit spotlights emails are helpful. I think you guys see those as they come out. And so we focus every month on a different part of our benefit programs, and probably 9 out of every 10 emails have a link that takes you directly to that subject area on our benefits website. And then this last deal, we were looking at launching a dependent care flexible spending account in addition to our current health FSA. And employees were essentially saying, hey, 60% of them really don't value us doing that. So we didn't do it this year. We may do it in years to come. Some of the feedback themes, pension fairness, I mentioned that earlier, level setting between tier 1 and tier 2. And again, I don't think there is a state pension fund in the United States that doesn't have multiple tiers. And that's just a fact of pension plans today. And we are very lucky that we have a pension plan here at BPU. And I think most of us really appreciate that, but there's always going to be a difference between tier 1 and tier 2. Mental health awareness. We are really working on that. So people are starting to see that. We're rolled out today, our new employee assistance program. You may have seen an email that went out this morning from me, now giving out the phone number for the new EAP. Family support needs. People are needing more assistance, more, I don't want to say time off, but help with their dependent care and those types of issues. And certainly there is still a desire for clear communication, and we've been working really hard at that. And I think, with our new addition with Amber and then with Nick and the rest of that communications team, we're getting better and better at that. So main slide, and we'll get you out of here after this, but we have on the left column the CBIZ recommendations, and then how we're taking that feedback and actually implementing it. So strength, number one recommendation, strengthen our career growth pathways across the organization. We're going to take that feedback from the 25 surveys and apply those to 26 performance strategies. But also, the plan is right now in 2025 or 2026 to do a pay study. And a part of that pay study is to address career pathways so that we have pathways for every major functional area at BPU. And we're going to have a third party help us design that. We're going to increase our internal communication, or they want us to increase our internal communication transparency. How are we doing that? Well, we've done it through our morning brew sessions. So again, every 2 or 3 months, leadership teams hitting the road and doing these morning brew sessions. We do weekly update communications from our communications department that takes key elements of what we're doing at BPU and talks about those. We do many more on-site meetings, so it's more of a requirement, I know Bill headed down that path. Jeremy's taken it to a new level where we're out in the field. Our safety team, the HR team, department heads are out meeting with the employees and, holding sessions to communicate with our people. Equip our supervisors to lead with empathy and clarity. This year, we rolled out a MARC training where we had a third party come in, a retiree from Westar, an attorney, employee relations guy, came in and trained all of our supervisory team, every supervisor that we have at BPU with regard to employee relations and how to handle employee issues and have good conversations. And it wasn't just our supervisors. We invited all of the union leadership as well. So anybody on their executive board or that were the business agent himself attended as well. So we wanted to be open and honest with them about how we want our supervisors to deal with our people so that not only us, but the union folks as well could hold everybody accountable. So we all were heading down the same path. And then continue to listen, share, and act on feedback. We're going to take the information from this survey. We wanted to provide it for you all first, and we're going to roll it out to all of our employees, communicate the results, and then what our next steps are. So any questions? If not, again, we're very, very excited by the survey results. We're heading in the right direction. We want to get better, but we are definitely moving in the right direction. So we appreciate the board's support.
We don't have any board member asking, how we can take advantage of the pension that.
Not yet. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Anybody have anything?
That's all that the team had.
And I would entertain a timely motion to adjourn.
I so move, the president.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the work session. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Parker,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Groneman,
Aye.
Haley.
Aye.
Wakes,
Aye.
Mulvaney, Henry.
Aye.
That motion carries. The work session is adjourned.